What is going on, everybody? It's the Frosted One here for a SmackDown review for October the 23rd, 2020. We have 2 days to go before we get to Hell in a Cell, and we only have 4 matches. Last I checked, we have 4 matches on Hell in a Cell. That is the 3 Hell in a Cell matches, Jeff Hardy versus... Oh yeah, and we get 1 tonight, so that's 5 matches. That's your Hell in a Cell card for you. I don't think they're going to add any more. I mean, you have 3 Hell in a Cell matches. That's going to take up majority of the show. So, WWE's like, you know what? We're just going to do 3 Hell in a Cell matches. And that's it. So, we got those. We'll get to that later. But we do have this show to get to. And it was... Let's just be honest. The only 2 things really in this show that I actually give a shit about are Bayley and Sasha Banks and Bayley and Sasha Banks and Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. That's it. Nothing else in this show really seems to fucking matter. They took away something that made SmackDown interesting. They took that and put it on Raw. The Alexa Bliss, Bray Wyatt Fiend gimmick. Now, we'll have to see what they can do to make up for that. So yeah, we have 5 matches. The people at Wikipedia have not added the 5th one, but we're not going to hammer that for them. So, SmackDown opens up, and we have Kevin Owens out here for the Kevin Owens show. He brings Daniel Bryan out. They talk back and forth together. Daniel Bryan wants the Intercontinental title to be defended weekly on SmackDown, and Kevin Owens says, well, you know, I brought you out here for talk about championships because I have never been a tag team champion in my entire WWE career. Of course, Daniel Bryan reminds him that, yeah, you've turned your back on a lot of friends. So, yeah. Which, honestly, I thought him and Chris Jericho were going to win the tag team titles back when they were doing the friendship thing. I think that would have been a great thing for them, but no, they didn't. So, he wants to be tag team champions with Daniel Bryan. Why? I don't know. This makes no sense to me. You bring Daniel Bryan back, and this is the best you have for him. Daniel Bryan has been staying at home, caring for his kids, caring for his wife, being a stay-at-home dad for them. Because of COVID. Excuse me. Whew. And now you bring him back, and this is what you have for him. Hey, Kevin, hey, Daniel, I'm Kevin Owens. We should be tag team champions. What? Give me a break. This prompts Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode to come out. The Street Profits to come out. The tag team champions, the Street Profits. They talk for a bit. They has fight. Sets up a 8-man tag team match after all this. Typical WWE, let's have a bunch of people come out and we have a tag team match. Where's Teddy Long in all this? So we have the Street Profits, Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens versus Cesaro, Nakamura, Robert Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. Now, when we come back from commercial break, it's a 4-on-3 match because Daniel Bryan came out in jeans, a t-shirt, and a jacket. A suit jacket. So he had to go to the back and get ready to rest and get into his wrestling gear. But I'm thinking, other people like a Chris Jericho or anyone else in WWE at times who are heels, they aren't going to do that. They don't run to the back in the tag team match. They take the shirt off, the jacket off, and they wrestle in their pants. But at least Daniel Bryan had the decency to go, well, this isn't going to work, so I'm going to get my wrestling gear. So you have yourself this match. It's a clusterfuck of a match. All these 8-man tag matches are always the same. Montez Ford ends up picking up the win in the end with, I believe, a frog splash, was it? Let's see. Spinebuster to Cesaro. Owens and take out Nakamura and Cesaro on the floor. Ford tags in, hits the big frog splash on Cesaro. Oh, yeah. Cesaro for the pin and the win in the middle of the ring. The Strike Profits and Daniel Bryan win. After that, that is that. Still to come, Roman Reigns will reveal the consequences to Jey Uso in Hell in a Cell. They announced to explain the recent Money in the Bank situation between Otis, The Miz, and John Morrison, and we go to the stupid-ass wrestling court segment. I don't care. I'm going to say it right now. They went with this stupid Law & Order spoof called Law & Otis. It was stupid shit. It should have never been put on TV. They're on FS1, so they're like, well, not too many people are going to watch this week, so we could put on some stupid fucking court segment, and the people who want to who are watching are going to be able to turn it off anyway. So that's why they did that. Just gonna speed ahead because this is like a 3-4 segment thing over the night. Otis and Miz will have to put. Otis is gonna have to put his Money in the Bank briefcase on the line, and the winner between him and the Miz and Hell in a Cell becomes Mr. Money in the Bank. Moving on. Bianca Belair versus Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega has fully transitioned from being a manager. Of course, we know that she had 2 women's championship matches back-to-back on Monday Night Raw for whatever reason. So she's here. Of course, this feud between these guys go back all the way to WrestleMania, when Bianca Belair made her Monday Night Raw debut by taking out Zelina Vega, then having a match with her the night after. I believe one more time after that, disappearing for a couple months. Then Montez Ford get poisoned. They have a couple more matches. And then she disappears again and they start running vignettes. And now she's on SmackDown. I will say, though, it is nice to see Bianca Belair on TV. She should be on TV more regularly. And I don't mean main events. I mean actual TV. So, we see the Street Profits backstage celebrating with Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens. Bryan is left alone. Sami Zayn walks up and Sami said he heard Bryan bad-mouthing him earlier and saying his title should be defended each week. Sami doesn't share that vision and says the title is special and it's his, which means he dictates the terms how often it's defended against who is defended. And I defended against many great wrestlers, including you at WrestleMania. And tells Bryan to keep his ideas to himself. As long as Sami is champion, he will defend his way. He walks off. We go back and out comes Zelina Vega. Short match here. Bianca Belair hits the KOD in the middle of the ring to finish the match. Nothing special. It was a basic match. We go to video package of Lars Sullivan with the freak backstage now. We see him give us a little look into the camera, and we go to commercial break. Lars Sullivan versus Chad Gable. Kayla Braxton's in the ring with Chad Gable. She asks why he accepted the match with Lars Sullivan. He says he's fed up. He can't get dropped to the Raw. He can't get dropped to SmackDown. What the hell's going on here? It's respect, so it's up to him to right the ship. It's disrespectful. I mean, he's going to call out the big man and prove he belongs. Out comes Lars Sullivan. So, this wasn't a very long match either, but Lars Sullivan did, trust me, there's a reason that all these matches are really short, because we are going to have a very long match, is our main event match later on in the show. But, basically, Chad Gable gets as much offense in as he can. He scratches the guy's eyes. Freak accident. And that was that. After the match, Lars stands tall. We go to replays. Yells at the stairs at the camera. Kayla Braxton interviews him at ringside, and she's like, "How do you feel now?" He's like, I quit. So, when this happened, I don't watch NXT right now, but I do know that on Wednesday, Austin Theory quit NXT. Chad Gable quit tonight. I was thinking, is this going to be a pattern? Maybe these two will end up in Retribution. We'll have more members of Retribution. I don't know if WWE wants to do that, but we'll get to that in a minute. Alicia Aston is backstage with Seth Rollins asking about tonight's match against former disciple Murphy and the fun they had last week. Rollins talks about how he plucked Murphy from obscurity, but tonight he asked for this match for a specific reason after last week. Rollins knows Murphy's emotions have confused him, but everyone understands that the greater good is all of us. I still want to know what this greater good he's referring to, because honestly, I don't get it. What is the greater good that he is talking about? Like, I hate mantras like that. Rollins is a messiah and a savior, and Murphy has walked behind her. There's no shame about there, but tonight Rollins will define Murphy's role for him, and that sounds like a lot of fun to Rollins. We see Roman backstage at his table with in his lavish locker room. Paul Heyman looks to say something in his ear, but he's angry tonight and doesn't want to be bothered. And we go to commercial break. He also had 2 plates of food in front of him and shoves one to one side, shoves one to the other, and he can't eat at his table because this whole thing is on his mind. This entire storyline between Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Jimmy thrown in there too because he's put himself into this, and we will see him again later on tonight in a very crazy way. But this has Paul Heyman written all over it. We've heard stories time and time again that everything Brock Lesnar does in WWE, Paul Heyman books it. 100% Paul Heyman books it. So here we have Paul Heyman working with Roman Reigns, having one of the most interesting stories in WWE on SmackDown and Raw, for mind you, because Raw, outside of Alexa Bliss and The Fiend, which is the only thing I care about on that show right now, because nothing else is worth a damn. Retribution is dead. The Hurt Business is a laughingstock. Ricochet, what the fuck's going on with him? The world title picture has the world title feud has drug out way too long. Should have ended 2 months ago. But yes, this is one of the most interesting things in WWE right now. And you can just tell that this is not a Vince McMahon thing. If this was a Vince McMahon thing, it would have been done already. It's either, and it just feels like Roman's not. Before Roman left the WWE to go be with his family, his two twin, I think he had 2 boys birthed earlier this year, COVID, all that stuff. Vince McMahon was writing all of his promos. Roman Reigns doesn't sound like a guy having promos written for him anymore. This feels like we're seeing Joe and not Roman. Like, we're not just seeing Roman, we're seeing the man behind Roman coming out and showing you that this is who he is. Good stuff. It's absolutely good stuff. And small, subtle things like this help out so well. Back to break, we see Adam Pearce in the trainer's room. He ends with Chad Gable. He's asking him how he is. He asks if he did really quit. He says, yes, I did quit. I'm done being this stupid fucking gimmick that you guys gave me. I'm done with this bullshit. I'm done with the smiley faces. I'm done with all these fucking bullshit lies that he doesn't accept this crap. He's done being a happy punching bag who accepts who he is and tells everyone that you can achieve what they want if they accept who they are. And he's like, I can't either. And it's going to be, and he goes about his past accomplishments, says they are wide and they have been seen by one man, Gable. Chad Gable. And I'm thinking, thank you, everybody has been saying it since day one. Since they put him in that basketball attire, that gimmick killed Chad Gable. Just go back to the King of the Ring tournament last year. This guy was over. The week after or so, before he started taking this shorty name, which is gone, dead, and thank goodness, how much he was over when he was Chad Gable. Then he got called Shorty Gable. Then they took the Able off of that and called him this, and he happily called himself this damn fucking name. And just go back and watch. When he took, from the time he took that name to the time the whole pandemic thing, he was dead. His gimmick was dead. His push was dead. His career was floating, was sinking. So for him to finally say, I am done with this shorty crap. I am done with this bullshit. It's not going to fucking work. It hasn't worked from day one. It's about time somebody backstage saw that this was not working and got it through Vince McMahon's head that, hey, this isn't working. You have one of the most talented guys on your roster just smiling and being, hey, if you accept who you are, you can achieve anything. Now, for 9% of 9% of the population, U.S. population, that's probably true. But for the other 91% of the U.S. population, I'm exaggerating. Numbers are probably a lot more wider than that. Maybe it's 95%. I don't know. Or 95% or whatever. But it's really small for those who can accept who they are and be able to achieve whatever they want. That is not the case for the majority of us people. And Chad Gable should not have to be saddled with a stupid fucking gimmick that was never going to go anywhere. WWE Universal Champion, Shorty. Now, Intercontinental Champion, Shorty. No. Tag Team Champion, blank and Shorty. No. Universal WWE Champion, Chad Gable. It could happen. Intercontinental Champion, it could happen. Tag Team Championships already happened in all three brands. So, not going to go there. But yeah, this was the right move. Now get this motherfucker some wins. Get this guy into a storyline that matters. He should be the one to challenge and win the Intercontinental title and take that title into WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan. That's just me. Imagine Daniel Bryan versus Chad Gable. Yes. Now, speaking of long-term storytelling, which is what Roman Reigns is doing right now with his cousin Jey, the one thing that has held SmackDown down until, of course, Alexa Bliss started turning into Sister Abigail, which is what I'm going to call her, Bayley and Sasha Banks has been the what is it called? The thing that has kept SmackDown down and tethered to the ground. They have hunkered down. They have taken their roles, and they have kept people watching SmackDown. If Bayley and Sasha Banks were exclusive to Raw during the summertime, SmackDown would have been dead on Fox completely. These two women are why people have been tuning in to Fox. Then you added The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, which I have been very interested in and want to see where it goes. And that was something else. Then Roman came back, and you had yourselves a three-headed monster of ratings pool that helped SmackDown get to where they wanted it to be, and a little bit better. Was Bayley, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss and The Fiend, and Roman Reigns. Then they took one of those away and gave us Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, Aaliyah Mysterio, and Murphy on SmackDown. A feud and a storyline nobody cares about. We'll talk about that later because Murphy and Seth Rollins do have a match. She's in the ring with her title and steel chair. She said she did a bunch of interviews this morning, and they all kept asking the same question about Sasha Banks and if she will sign the contract to face Sasha Banks at Hell in a Cell. Instead of, being appreciative of me being on their shows, they just kept talking about Sasha. Bayley says Banks is an ungrateful little brat, doesn't deserve this, and doesn't want to give Banks what she deserves, what she don't deserve. Bayley tried to be done with this weeks ago, but now Banks is a bigger pain than before. She laughs at Banks, saying she's a bigger than the title last week, saying in her own words that her name is bigger than the title. She thinks Banks got a little too conceited and her head's too big to fit in the Hell in a Cell. Bayley says this might as well burn the Hell in a Cell contract because she's not signing it. Banks calls herself the boss, but she's not the boss of Bayley. Out comes Sasha Banks. Banks comes marching to the ring, and she has the Hell in a Cell contract with her. Bayley says she's not signing it. Banks says she's better because Bayley started this and she's ending it. Bayley swings the steel chair, but Banks ducks. Banks grabs the title. Bayley wants it back so they can talk about this. Banks offers a contract and says, sign it. If you want your title back, you better sign this. Bayley goes to grab the title instead, but they fight for it because, Bayley's like, you know what? Fine. Give me the contract. I'll sign it. So instead of tossing the contract to her and holding her title back, she just, reaches forward so Bayley can come forward and grab her championship. Not a smart move on Sasha Banks. However, Banks wraps the chair around Bayley's neck and keeps her down with her foot on it. She grabs the contract, but Bayley kicks her in the back. Banks traps Bayley in the chair again and yells at her to sign it. Bayley refuses. So Banks puts her into a modified bank statement through the chair and tells her to sign it. And Bayley's fighting this. She's fighting this. She finally grabs the pen, signs the contract, and the match is official for Sunday. Banks kicks Bayley in the back of the head to the mat in the chair around the neck. The cell match is official. Banks grabs the title and kneels down, telling Bayley she will take the title on Sunday and finish what Bayley started. Banks drops the title and makes her exit with the contract. Her music hits and Bayley looks around in the chair, still around her neck. More bullshit from the Otis stuff. Don't care. And then we have our main event of the evening. Seth Rollins versus Murphy. Now, Seth Rollins versus Murphy with no history, No nothing between these two. No stupid fucking Mysterio storyline that's been going on since the night after Money in the Bank. I'd be sitting here saying, man, this is like my most anticipated match of the week. I mean, Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix had a hell of a match, which we'll get into that eventually on Wednesday next week of what happened there. But yeah, this was a hell of a match. But unfortunately, due to the fact that WWE continues to push Rey Mysterio, the Mysterios versus Rollins and Murphy, and now we have the wrinkle of Aaliyah is really smitten with Murphy. And I'm just waiting for them to come out and say, hey, we're an item. Rey gets pissed off. And this is leading to Dominic versus Murphy, or Rey Mysterio versus Murphy, for the honor of Aaliyah. If Dominic if the Mysterio wins, then they can't see each other anymore. But if Murphy wins, then Dominic and Rey have to leave them alone so they can have their relationship. That's where it's leading to, and if it's not, I'd be surprised. But this was a hell of a match. Murphy is really talented, and this is not the first time we've seen this. I mean, Roman Reigns and Murphy had a match last year during the King of the Ring. Was it Roman Reigns? No, it was the week before the King of the Ring. That's right. A week before the King of the Ring, Roman Reigns and Murphy had a match because Roman Reigns was attacked, or somebody was trying to attack Roman Reigns, and on that first night, Murphy ended up being in the opposite shot, or the shot when Roman Reigns was walking away. So, and of course, that was not supposed to happen. Murphy accidentally put himself there to be seen, so people would have that speculation, and it led to him having a hell of a match. One of the best matches on SmackDown last year between him and Roman. Then he went to the King of the Ring and faced off against Mustafa Ali, and guess what? Those two tore the house down. They tore the house down and gave you one hell of a match. Honestly, if it would have been me, that would have been your semifinals or finals going into for the King of the Ring. But that's just me. And of course, we had this year plus of Baron Corbin as fucking King Corbin, which needs to end yesterday. Anyway, this is not the first, and it should not be the last time we see Murphy having great matches. The guy is fantastic. The only problem is Vince McMahon sees nothing in him. He doesn't want to, as we know, talent is not enough. You could be the most talented. Hell, WWE just signed Benjamin Carter, who had that fantastic match against Lee Johnson and on AEW Dark about a month ago. It's about a month ago now. But WWE signed him, which I still think AEW made a mistake not signing him after that match. And he is a hell of a talented guy. But talent will only get you so far in WWE. You have to have the presence of somebody that WWE could see as a top champion. Murphy has that. Murphy isn't even bad on the mic. I don't see what Vince McMahon sees because I don't have it. I can't see in Vince McMahon's head. I can't. But this motherfucker will not put Murphy's at a ceiling. He's at a ceiling that he is right before championship contendership. Yes, Murphy has been Cruiserweight champion. But that's all he's been. Oh, it's right. He was also an NXT Tag Team champion. But guess what? Those were under the Triple H umbrella. That's where Triple H booked this guy, as a tag team with Blake. I don't think they were really the best tag team, but they were good. And they had Alexa Bliss, and that was one of the best things Alexa Bliss did until this recent run with her. But then he went and won the Cruiserweight Championship in his home country and had a damn good run. And his match with him and I believe it was Mustafa Ali had a hell of a match at the Survivor Series where the Cruiserweight Championship was on the main card. But here he is wrestling Seth Rollins, and if it wasn't for this feud that I am sick and tired of, which when Seth Rollins was drafted at the beginning of SmackDown during the draft, I was like, please keep the Mysterios on Raw. Keep the Mysterios on Raw so we don't have to have this feud anymore. Seth Rollins can move on to something else. Hell, they teased Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan last week. I would rather have that feud than than this feud we have right now. Hell, if Murphy was still drafted to SmackDown but the Mysterio stayed on Raw, I would be thankful that we could see this go where it needs to, but the Mysterios and Seth Rollins are done. But here we are, it is October. When was Money in the Bank? 2020. I believe it was in May. That is almost half a year. That's almost half a year that we've seen this feud continue over and over and over again. Then they drug Aaliyah in because why the fuck not? Why the fuck not put the youngest of the Mysterio kids into this show? So we had this match here, and of course they had to a couple times show us that Aaliyah's watching backstage, and Corey Graves pointed it out perfectly. Michael Cole said they struck up a unique friendship, and Corey Graves like, do you ever know somebody who's fought to just be friends with them? I can't get the actual quote, but he pretty much was like, yeah, that's using the term loosely. If there ain't something going on between these two, then what the fuck is Murphy doing? Fighting for Aaliyah's honor? Out of the goodness of his heart? Please. And of course, this feud is just like anything else, all over a woman in the end. Like, Murphy and Seth Rollins is all over a woman because Murphy has a crush or has feelings or is dating behind everyone's back Aaliyah. Which, yes, people are going to get creeped out about it because she's 19, he's like 31. Guess what? She's 19, so she can do what the fuck she wants. It doesn't matter. Age ain't nothing but a number after you hit 18. I'll say that again. Age ain't nothing but a number after you hit 18. That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, this match went for, I believe, majority of the second hour. Now, Rollins talks some trash in Murphy's face and drops him. The fake boos get louder. Murphy comes back with a big right to stun Rollins. Rollins drops Murphy. Murphy gets up and nails Rollins in the jaw. They trade big straights in the middle of the ring now. Murphy unloads and delivers a few kicks. Rollins drops Murphy, but Murphy comes back up with a roll-up for a 2 count. Rollins with a big roundhouse and a Falcon Arrow for a 2. Rollins can't believe Murphy is hanging on. Which, by the way, during the match, Murphy goes for a meteor off the top rope, lands hard, and pops it. Well, I don't know if he really did, but they played it off as he popped his shoulder out. So he pops it back in storyline, in kayfabe. I don't know if it was real or not. And that arm is compromised for the entire match. Rollins goes for the stomp, but Murphy rolls him up. Rollins misses another stomp, but nails a back elbow. Rollins goes to the top, but Murphy kicks him in the face. Rollins slides him off Murphy's shoulders, drops him, and then hits the stomp for the pin in the ring in the middle in the win. Now, about halfway or three-quarters through this match, we see Aaliyah like 2-3 times, and on the third time, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio come in the feud and is like, "What are you doing?" She's not saying, "I'm just watching this match." No, she's like, "I'm watching Murphy." Tells you right there where this is going. Ugh, I don't even care about this thing. But Murphy's down. Rollins goes to get a kendo stick. Aaliyah's in the back, all worried. It's like, "Go, Dominic, go help him. Please go help him. Please, brother, please." They're like, Ray and Dominic like, "No. Why are we going to do that? You need to stay out of this." She's like, "Well, you know what? If you're not going to stop them, I will." She goes out. Rollins hits him a couple times with the kendo sticks after she gets down to the ringside area. She rolls into the ring, gets over top of him. Dominic finally runs out, scares him off for a minute. Rollins finally comes back in, beats the hell out of Dominic some. Rey Mysterio comes down with a chair, chases him off. And Dominic and his dad are having words with each other while Aaliyah helps Murphy up and is holding him. And it just looks it definitely looks like there's definitely more there than just friends. Definitely more than just friends. Like I said, she's 19, he's 31, doesn't matter, she's 19, so she's an adult, she can do what the fuck she wants. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that find this creepy, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, if it's okay for a 20-some-year-old to date a 50-year-old, then it's alright for a 31-year-old to have a fling with a 19-year-old. They're both consenting adults. Grow the fuck up, kids. So, that was that. As Stafford knocks on Roman Reigns' door as we go to the back, Paul Heyman comes out and berates him and says, "You're a little aggressive with that knock." It's like, it's time, guys. He's like, it's Roman. Paul Heyman's like, it's Roman. It says, "We will determine when it's time for Romans to come out," and we go to commercial break. We get a special 1 hour. There's a 1 hour Talking Smack with Montez Ford, Caleb Braxton, and Hall of Famer Booker T as host. Guests are Paul Heyman, Daniel Bryan, Sasha Banks, and Bianca Belair. I actually got into the Thunderdome for about a minute on that before it froze on me. We get the sponsored flow, the progressive flow of the night, or whatever they fucking call it, video package of Roman and Jey Uso. Back to the ring, and out comes Roman Reigns. The announcers hype Sunday's I Quit Hell in a Cell match between Roman Reigns and his cousin Jey. Reigns enters the ring and raises the title in the air. Boos get louder. Before Roman can speak, we see an Uso sitting at his table with a hat on and a bandana, covering everything but his eyes. Now, the only way I can tell Jimmy and Jey apart right now is Jimmy has his hairs in cornrows and Jey does not. So that's the biggest way. And also, I believe Jey has his lats tat, but his brother doesn't. But that could have changed already. Now, he's like, "Oh, look at all this food. He's got a cheese plate. He's got a berries and a little bit of H2O." And he's lost connection with himself and their family. He's changed. He's got his head out so far up his tribal chief ass. He's nothing but a dick. He says, He says, "Don't ask me, ask my brother." As he takes the hat off, the bandana off, and it's Jimmy. Roman looks down, just has his head down, very disappointed. So Jey comes from behind, unloads on Ray in the corner. Jey goes for a swinging steel chair, but Reigns drops him with a big boot. Reigns goes to use the chair now, but Jey super kicks him. Jey goes to the top rope, hits a big Uso splash. Jey is fired up as he exits the ring. Yelling at Reigns while he's down, Jey hits the stage and stands tall as his brother comes out limping or skipping. As the fans cheer, Heyman is in the ring as Reigns goes back to his feet. Reigns takes the mic and says, "You guys think this is funny? If he's forced to quit on Sunday, he's not the Universal Champion, not the face of WWE, not the head of the table, not the tribal chief, not the provider of generations of the bloodline. If Uso can make Reigns quit, he can live with that. But the question is, can Uso?" Reigns asks if he makes Jey quit, or says, if he makes Jey quit, he will make him quit. He will fall in line, take orders, acknowledge him, respect him for who he is in WWE and all he does for their family. And if you can't, then you're out. Not just you, but you brought your brother along too. He's out too. Your wives, your children, your children's children are all out of the family. We will turn our backs on you. Those are your consequences. Heyman hands Roman the title and places it over his shoulder. Usos are furious, looking back on the stage. Hell in a Cell structure, which I didn't even realize was there, just lowers down, surrounds the ring. Jey comes down, climbs about halfway up, looks down at his cousin, and they yell at each other as the Hell in a Cell Go Home show for SmackDown goes off the air. So, like I said, the only things I really care about: Bayley and Sasha Banks, Roman and Jey. Everything else was just a nothing. As I've been hearing the word "nothing burger" lately, that's what. Honestly, it feels like that's what SmackDown is. It's a nothing burger. You have the top bun, which is Jey and Jimmy. You have the bottom bun, which is Bayley and Sasha Banks, and nothing good in between. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. So, Hell in a Cell coming to you this Sunday from the Thunderdome inside Amway Center. There are 5 matches, as far as I know. 5 matches. So, we have Otis versus The Miz with a singles match with the Money in the Bank contract on the line. I honestly would say, I would just want to say The Miz needs to win it. Otis has been the most irrelevant champion, the Money in the Bank briefcase holder in history. And Damian Sandow held that briefcase at one time. That tells you that right there. Jeff Hardy versus Elias. This is coming because Elias was attacked, was hit by a car, and he still thinks it was Jeff Hardy, even though it wasn't Jeff. I'm going to say Jeff Hardy loses this match. Why would you have Elias come back just to end up losing? Is this going to be the last match between these ties? No. Bayley versus Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell match, SmackDown Women's Championship. Sasha Banks needs to win. No doubt about it. Sasha Banks versus Asuka at the Survivor Series is the money match. We've already seen Bayley versus Sasha Banks. I mean, we've already seen Asuka versus Sasha Banks too. But Sasha needs to win. She's been in 3. This will be her 3rd Hell in a Cell. She has lost the first 2. It's time for her to get a win. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship. Drew needs to win. But I say Randy's going to win. Honestly, I think Randy's going to win. They've been wanting him. They've been trying. I don't know why they held it off from the last match. The ambulance match could have been Randy winning. Drew pissed off that everything didn't, like, he got beat. And then you could have got to Hell in a Cell, and this could have been the blow off with Randy Orton winning. Randy's winning, and we move on from there. Roman versus Jey, Universal Championship I Quit match. Jey Uso has 0 chance. Jey's going to lose. It should be one hell of a brutal match. This is the 2nd Hell in a Cell match for Jey Uso. The 4th, I believe, for Roman Reigns. And I see Jey losing. I don't know how they're going to do this. I really don't want to see him physically say, you know what, I quit. You're not going to see the towel being thrown in because it is a Hell in a Cell match, even though unless they break the Hell in a Cell door and we see somebody come in like Jimmy to throw the towel in, it's going to get brutal. There's got to be blood in this match. I'm sorry. If any match on this night has any type of blood, it's got to be this match. This match has earned and deserves some kind of blood. Sorry, it does. So, for the night, we have Miz beating Otis, Elias beating Jeff Hardy, Sasha Banks over Bayley, Randy Orton over Drew McIntyre, and Roman over Jey Uso. That is your SmackDown review and your Hell in a Cell predictions. The only thing we have to do is just get to Sunday now. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video, find me on Twitter at The France Club, find me on twitch.tv/The France Club, find me on Instagram at The France Club, and I'll see you guys on Sunday for Hell in a Cell. You guys have a good one.